response, just to explain a bit why I write all these songs about Israel and why I put to music all the promises God has made to His people. Why do I think that is important? And I think there couldn't be a better timing for this, because right now Israel is under attack and is on the brink of war, and from both sides casualties and aggression and the conflict is going to a new low. And yesterday and the day before yesterday, missiles are launched at Tel Aviv and at Jerusalem, and that brings the conflict to a new level. That hasn't happened before since for decennia. So, and what surprises me is that this whole conflict touches me, because God has laid it in my heart to care about these things. And what surprises me is that when I publish status updates on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, that no one really responds to it. When I post a stupid message like I'm baking an egg or something, then I can get up to 20 likes or something. And when I do a status update about Israel, about God did not leave His people, and even now in this time of suffering, God will stand for His people, then I can get 2 likes. So, how is that? Doesn't the church care? I have hundreds of friends on Facebook, 750 or something, of which at least 90% are indeed Christian. How come that I get so little responses to these things? It is like we don't know how to deal with it, or we do not care indeed. But I tell you, God does care. He is really clear about that in His Word. I must admit, most of my life I didn't care either. I had the privilege to go to Israel last year. And before I went, I told one of my best friends, man, I'm afraid. I'm afraid that I will go to Israel and return and not be the same. Because I wanted to stay just who I was. I believed in some kind of residue of the replacement theory, that God has left His people, but we are the new Israel, and that's such that kind of stuff. Formally, I did not agree with that, but I didn't know what to do with the Jewish people in Israel, what to think about those things. So when I went to Israel, I was afraid I would get back as a kind of Israel freak, and I turned into some kind of Israel freak. So I understand really well that Israel is a hard thing to take to a lot of people, but that has to change. God is working in Israel, and I don't think you can spend one day in Israel without noticing the hand of God. So, what happened to me in Israel? I met Watchmen on the wall. For the last years, watchmen have been walking the walls of Jerusalem every day, except for Sabbath days, and proclaiming the words of God over His people and over His country. And that touched me. It touched me deep inside. I've been crying. I've been repenting. For the first time in my life, I saw what God's heart for His people was. I want to read about that a little bit, about their motivation to walk the walls of Jerusalem every day. And I guess that is something that applies to all of us. We are in Yeshua, Jesus, and He gives us some kind of an appointment. And He appointed us to pray for His people, pray for His brothers, to do to the very least of His brethren what we would have done to Him. Yeshayahu, Isaiah 62. Yeshua says here, "For Zion's sake I will not be silent, for Jerusalem's sake I will not rest, until her vindication shines out brightly, and her salvation like a blazing torch. The nations will see your vindication, and all kings your glory. Then you will be called by a new name, which Adonai Himself will pronounce. You will be a glorious crown in the hand of Adonai, a royal diadem held by your God. You will no longer be spoken of as abandoned, your land be spoken of as desolate. Rather, you will be called, my delight is in her, and your land married. For Adonai delights in you, and your land will be married. As a young man marries a young woman, your sons will marry you. As a bridegroom rejoices over the bride, your God will rejoice over you. I have posted watchmen on your walls, Jerusalem. They will never fall silent, neither by day nor by night. You who call on Adonai, give yourselves no rest, and give Him no rest until He restores Jerusalem, and makes it a praise on the earth." Yeah, I'll stop here for a moment. We see Yeshua has posted watchmen on the walls of Jerusalem. This is an eschatological thing. Hard word, but it means to take place in the end of times. And I believe that this will take place at the end. Because give yourself no rest until He restores Jerusalem and makes it a praise on the earth. It has not yet happened. And here in verse 1, until her vindication shines out brightly and her salvation like a blazing torch, and the nations will see your vindication and all kings your glory. This has not happened yet. And maybe in the time of Solomon it approached this. But after that, and after Yeshayahu, Isaiah, it has never been like that. So this is about something that has yet to come. A second thing, in Isaiah 61, we see the Spirit of Adonai Elohim is upon me, because Adonai has anointed me to announce good news to the poor. All Christians immediately know this must be about Yeshua. All believers, because Christians is not synonymous to believing in Yeshua. But, okay. So this has to be a call from Yeshua Himself. Go through the gates, clear the way for the people. So this is what I'm trying to say is, this all will take place after Yeshua has first come to the earth. So this now we see that Israel has begun a state in 48, and after 2 millennia of losing everything and oppression and always be the underdog, now they win war after war after war after war. So God is obviously saying, it is enough. I'm going to care for my people from now on. So in that light we might say, now I will also post a watchman who will pray, who will proclaim the words of God. Because, for example, if you read Daniel, you will see that you have the spiritual realm and you have the earthly realm, and those things are interconnected. It's almost like the earthly realm is a mirror image of the spiritual realm. For example, we see that in the book of Daniel, the Michael and Gabriel are fighting the king, the prince of the Mede and the Persians, or Babylon. Sorry, you might get that wrong, but you can search it up for yourself in the book of Daniel. The fact is, in those heavenly realms, there's a war going on, and the war immediately affects what happens on earth. So, I guess that is why Yeshua calls people to be watchmen and to proclaim. They will never fall silent, neither by day nor by night. I guess they empowered the legions of heaven. I think they encourage the angels to fight. It is hard to see how exactly this does work, but we all know that Yeshua tells us to keep praying. It is important, it is vital to keep on praying and never stop. So something happens when we pray, when we keep praying. And Yeshua calls us here to pray, to never be silent until he restores Yerushalayim and makes him a praise on the earth. So we must pray for Yerushalayim, pray for Israel, pray for his promises to come true. You who call on Adonai, other translations say, you who bring Adonai things in remembrance. And I have been studying that, and it appears that is the most logical translation would be indeed, you who bring Adonai things he had said into remembrance. You who remember God, the words he has spoken. So, what do these watchmen do? They look at words that God has spoken and they remember to it. They said, God, remember your word and make sure remember it and bring it into practice really soon. Sorry. And that is why I in my music also use phrases like remember your words, O God. It is a really famous sentence under Watchmen. Remember your words, O God. They ask it every day. And it might sound really strange to a lot of you. It might sound really strange. And I can imagine that it took me half a year before I could say to God, remember your words, God, before I could plead in such a way, because it's not how it started in church. We are all kind of Calvinistic or Lutheran, and that makes that we have no boldness towards God. So we have no boldness towards God, but Yeshua is calling us to be bold. Alright, so go on through the gates, verse 10. Clear the way for the people, build up a highway, build it up, clear away the stones. And we as church and the whole world laid a lot of stones so they couldn't go back to the place where they belong. Raise a banner for the peoples, and that's exactly what I'm doing now. Through my music I hope to shake the world, to wake the world for this thousands years old prophecies that God is bringing to fulfillment right now, and we don't see it, we are blind. So I want to raise a banner for the people. and I hope people will be made to see. Their eyes will be opened, and the glasses of the Roman theology will fall off their faces, and I hope Yeshua will crush it. Raise a banner for the people, for Israel. That's something we have not done for almost 2 millennia, and now is the time to change. Adonai has proclaimed to the end of the earth, say to the daughter of Zion, your salvation is coming. Here his reward is with him, and his recompense is before him. And they will call him the holy people, the redeemed of Adonai. You will be called sought after, city no longer abandoned. Those are beautiful promises. Beautiful promises to the people of Israel and to the land Israel. Okay. There are a lot of prophecies concerning this time, of course. This was only the reason why it is good for people to pray and to proclaim for Israel. But there's a lot more to be said, of course, about this time. In these days, we're halfway November 2012 now. It is obvious that something is happening. All kinds of missiles and bombs and stuff are aimed to Israel. And I've heard that in the last few days only 500 rockets have been shot at Israel, and it's the same amount back to the Gaza Strip. It appears that Iran is getting involved as well, and Hezbollah, and I don't exactly know. It's all a bit fuzzy, but it is not going the right way. It's not what we hope. We all hope for peace, and what do we see? We see only more war. And when you look at the scriptures, you see that God has already told us that it's going to be war. You must not ask me why, but this seems to be a necessary evil. Don't think that I'm proclaiming that God likes war. God does not like war. But God is righteous, and God knows what has to be done to redeem the earth and to restore it. And this is all going towards the kingdom of God restored on earth. When Yeshua went to heaven and he spoke his last words to his disciples, they asked him, after they had been instructed for 40 days in the kingdom of God, they asked him, are you now going to restore the kingdom of Israel? And then Yeshua says, it is not for you to know the date or the time, but I will give you the Spirit. I will give you the Comforter. I don't know exactly how he says that, but basically he says, no, it's not now, and it is not for you to know when, but it will happen. God will restore the self-ruling of Israel. Till that time, the Comforter will be there, the Spirit of truth, to guide you through all the terrible times that will come till that day Israel will be restored. So, all these wars lead to the restoration of Israel, and Yeshua finally seated upon the throne in Israel and Jerusalem, and he will rule the entire world. And that are straight promises from God. And if God promises something, it will happen, no doubt about it. And a lot of these things we already see happening. Because, for example, the most famous example, of course, is the realization of the state Israel in 48. And affected all the wars since then have been won. And all the God has made all kinds of let's put it another way. God inspired a lot of people to build organizations, to get the Jewish people from north and south and east and west back home. There are incredible testimonies about these. I've read some books about this, and it is marvelous to see how God is working in that. So the fact that the state is in existence, and old cities rebuilt, and the lot of the people of the Jews are coming back to the state of Israel is direct fulfillments of God's promises. So if God promises something, it will happen, and we have seen that over and over again, and so we know the Messiah will come back to Israel because God does not lie. But first there has to happen some terrible things, I'm afraid. And I don't think we as believers in Yeshua can possibly be ignorant of that. We must know it. Zechariah 12, a prophecy, the word of Adonai concerning Israel. Here is the message from Adonai, who stretched out the heavens, laid the foundations of the earth, and formed the spirit inside human beings. This might sound well, I can't find the words. Sorry, I just read on. That's not important. God says about Israel, I will make Jerusalem a cup that will stagger the surrounding peoples. Even Judah will be caught up in the siege against Jerusalem. When that day comes, I will make Jerusalem a heavy stone for all the peoples. All who try to lift it will hurt themselves, and all the earth's nations will be massed against her. All the earth's nations will be massed against her. When that day comes, says Adonai, I will strike all the horses with panic and all their riders with madness. I will keep watch over Jehudah. I will strike blind all the horses of the peoples. The leaders of Judah will say to themselves, those living in Jerusalem are my strength through Adonai Tzavaot their God. When that day comes, I will make the leaders of Judah like a blazing fire pan in a pile of wood, like a fiery torch among sheaves of grain. They will devour all the surrounding peoples, on the right and on the left. Jerusalem will be inhabited in their own place, Jerusalem. Let's see. And onward to verse 8. When that day comes, Adonai will defend those living in Jerusalem. On the day, even someone who stumbles will be like David, and the house of David will be like God, like an angel of Adonai before them. When that day comes, I will seek to destroy all nations attacking Jerusalem. This means God is serious about this. We all approach God like the most loving force there's ever been, the most loving person there's ever been. But there is also another side to God. He is also righteous. And what you do to Israel will be done to you. Because Israel is the apple of his eye. And when you poke the apple of his eye, he's going to be mad. I will seek to destroy all nations attacking Jerusalem. And I will pour out on the house of David and on those living in Jerusalem a spirit of grace and prayer. And they will look to me whom they've pierced. Here also hides the promise of restoration. So that will happen after that. First, there's going to be a bitter time, a hard time of war, and we see here that let's see what did I will make the leaders of Judah like a blazing fire pan and a pile of wood. We see that the government and I guess the army will be used in these wars to punish the nations around them. So we cannot say that this war is not intended to be. And that's a really hard fact, hard for us to understand. But we must not forget that God is all-wise and all-powerful, and He still holds the keys to everything. He still pulls the strings of everything. So we just have to put our faith in God that what is happening now will eventually lead to something better. Alrighty, let's see. I can go on for hours about this, but I guess I'll just head through to another prophecy, just to bring this to a closure. So I can talk for hours, but I hope this will not be more than 20 minutes. I don't know, maybe I have been talking for an hour already, but I guess not. Okay. The remnant of Israel, Zephaniah, let's see what chapter this is. Zephaniah 3 verse 13. The remnant of Israel will not do wrong, nor will they speak lies, nor will there be found in their mouths a tongue given over to deceit. For they will be able to graze and lie down, with no one to disturb them. Sing, daughter of Zion. Shout, Israel. Be glad and rejoice with all of your heart, daughter of Jerusalem. Adonai has removed the judgment against you. He has expelled your enemy. The King of Israel, Adonai, is right there with you. The King of Israel, Adonai, is right there with you. He still is the King of Israel. When Yeshua was crucified, they hung a plate above his head, King of the Jews. That is still his identity, and his kingship will be restored, as I just pointed out. You no longer need to fear that anything bad will happen. You no longer need to fear that anything bad will happen. On that day, it will be said to Jerusalem, do not fear Zion, do not let your hands droop down. Adonai your God is right there with you as a mighty Savior. He will rejoice over you and be glad. He will be silent in his love, and he will shout over you with joy. I will gather those of yours who grieve over the appointed feasts and bear the burden of reproach, because they cannot keep them. When that day comes, I will deal with all those who oppress you. I will save her who is lame, gather her who was driven away, and make them whose shame spread over the earth the object of praise and renown. And I will make them, listen carefully, I will make them whose shame spread over the earth the object of praise and renown. That is a promise. You know, Jewish people are still hated today. I'm searching on the internet now and again, and just see what people think of Israel, what people think of the Jews. And there are a lot of anti-Semites and a lot of anti-Zionists who really hate the Jews and who just say it is time to kill all of them. And I'm serious about this. So they're still put to shame. And people are still scoffing at them. But God says, I will make them whose shame spread over the earth the object of praise and renown. So that will change. And one day those stupid people who think they can curse the Israelites will have to bow down at their feet and apologize. When that time comes, I will bring you in. When the time comes, I will gather you and make you the object of fame and praise. Make you the object of fame and praise among all the peoples of the earth. When I restore your fortunes before your eyes. When I restore your fortunes before your very eyes, says Adonai. Oh Adonai, remember your word. Remember your word and think of your people. In their time of trouble, on this Shabbat day, I pray for them that they will be blessed with your power and your healing, and I pray that they will be comforted, and they might experience joy through your strength, and that they might experience love, your love for them. And I pray that every every living soul in the land will find hope in the promises you have made. God, remember your promises. Fulfill them. And I pray that the believers in Yeshua, the believers in the New Testament, will be touched by heart, by your words, and will start praying and pleading and proclaiming, and that they will take in the strategic place in the heavenly realm. Oh God, teach us. Adonai, teach us how to fight according to your will. Brothers and sisters, I encourage you not to be silent anymore. Let your voice be heard every day. And even though fear may strike you, fear also strikes me now and then. A great fear. It makes me trembling. But God will be there for us. We don't have to do this by ourselves. When we decide to join in this spiritual warfare, God will be on our side, and God will be all around us, before us, after, behind us, around us, and He will comfort us. But I'm afraid that if we do not take a strategic place in this warfare, that we will slowly fall asleep and slowly die out. There's a reality here on earth that is hardly to be found in the church, but belongs in the church. The reality of God's war. And I'm not talking jihad or something, of course, but I'm talking His Israel, the apple of His eye. I'll bring it to a closure now. I guess I'll for the coming weeks I will do a series on the promises of God, every Shabbat a video, but it might also be the last. For now I will call it Coffee on the Shabbat with Niels Cornelis. Catchy phrase, isn't it? May Adonai bless you.